It's 1281. Kublai Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan, ruler of the biggest empire the world has ever seen, has sent 140,000 soldiers across the sea on 4,400 ships to crush Japan once and for all. The samurai on shore know they're outnumbered. They know help isn't coming, and by every calculation, Japan falls today. But what if something else was already in those waters? Something 610 feet long, silent, invisible to the naked eye, carrying weapons that can reach beyond the horizon. Something that doesn't belong in the 13th century at all, the USS Zumwalt, the most advanced destroyer ever built. First, you need to understand what the Zumwalt actually is, because it's unlike anything that's ever touched water. Its hull is designed with sharp angles that bounce radar signals away instead of reflecting them back. A 610-foot, 15,000-ton warship. 80 missile launch cells loaded with Tomahawk cruise missiles, range of 1,000 miles, surface-to-air missiles, and close-range point defense weapons. Two 155mm deck guns, capable of firing shells 80 miles away. But don't underestimate what Kublai Khan built. This is a purpose-built war fleet, the largest, most coordinated naval operation the medieval world had ever attempted. When their first invasion of Japan failed in 1274, Kublai Khan didn't quit. He spent 7 years rebuilding, and came back twice as strong. That kind of determination matters. 140,000 soldiers, 4,400 ships, the full power of the world's greatest empire. It begins at 3 a.m. No lights, total darkness. The Zumwalt runs in passive radar mode, listening, mapping, not broadcasting a single signal. Its radar system builds a complete picture of the Mongol fleet spread across 30 miles of ocean. Every command ship, every supply vessel, every troop transport, labeled, prioritized, queued. GPS doesn't exist in 1281. The satellites that Tomahawk missiles normally use for navigation won't be invented for another 700 years. So the crew switches to inertial navigation. The missile tracks its own position using internal gyroscopes, calculating every movement from the moment it launches. The first Tomahawk launches. It drops to 50 feet above the water, accelerates to 550 miles per hour, and crosses the dark ocean guided entirely by its own internal math. No signal, no satellite, no warning. The command ship's hull disappears in a fireball that lights up 3 miles of ocean. And that's the moment everything breaks for the Mongol fleet. There was no approaching ship, no catapult, no visible source. A vessel simply ceased to exist. Commanders who had stood firm against charging cavalry, who had held formation across countless battles, they had no answer for this, because no military doctrine in 1281 had ever written a chapter on invisible ships firing weapons from beyond the horizon. The second missile hits. Supply ships explode in chain reactions. Senior commanders are gone before anyone can organize a response. The fleet's leadership collapses within the first 20 minutes. Signal fires break out across the surviving ships, the medieval version of emergency communications. And every single one just makes those ships a better target. The Zumwalt's radar marks each new light and adds it to the queue. One group of Korean warships tries to flank the direction they think the attack is coming from. Smart instinct. Wrong century. The Zumwalt repositions silently in the dark, and the flanking fleet finds open water. When they come within close range, the point defense systems handle them in under 90 seconds. When the smoke clears over Hakata Bay, Japan is saved, not by samurai courage, not by divine wind, but by a warship that had no business being in the 13th century. Strip away GPS, satellites, global communications, every modern system the Zumwalt was built to rely on. And it still wins, decisively. That says everything about the gap between 1281 and 2016. As for Kublai Khan, he never launched the third invasion. He was still planning when he died in 1294, convinced the right moment was coming. Japan was never invaded again, and for 700 years, no one could fully explain what happened that morning in Hakata Bay.